So we are super excited about this new video series we're doing called The Capability of God, and people sharing their testimonies of what God has done in their life. And today we have a young lady named Jennifer who's fairly new to the church. She's been coming since last December. She's from New York City, and we're just super excited that she's going to share her story, and it's an amazing one. So why don't you just share your story, Jennifer, with us today?
So approximately December, October-ish, I met James, who is now my fiance, and he introduced me to, a number of things, one of them being Hope Point Church, and a program we went through called Reboot, and the faith, most importantly. And I kind of I'm the type of person that has to study everything, and I felt like I needed to I wasn't really getting it. And then about, I'd say a month ago, it kind of really clicked for me, and it really became official. And I know I had already asked you to do my baptism and everything, but it really became official and became ingrained. And approximately, it was on March 30th, I went to Bend to grab some stuff, and on my return trip, on the way there, let's go with that first. God works in funny ways. On the way there, it's beautiful weather, and I'm getting to Detroit, and it's starting to rain a little bit, and then towards the back end of Detroit, it's starting to snow, and I'm at this time, it's a little low for Detroit, but I was grew up in New York, knew how to do donuts when I was 16. I was I've got this, in my little two-door coupe Mitsubishi Eclipse Spider convertible, which, probably shouldn't have driven at that time over the pass. But I got this feeling driving, and I was turn on some K-Love, listen to some of that music. So I did. And things started getting a little dicey, and I was I still got this. And then I finally was okay, pray. So I was Lord, please help me, get through this, help me get to Bend, that's all I'm asking. And I finally get to the Santiam Pass, where it starts, the junction, and right at that point, a snowplow came right in front of me, so I got to follow it all the way through the pass, and it was just the way it just, worked out, because leading up to it, I was getting, carry chains, there's snow, and I was didn't have any of that, but I was I still got this. I wasn't about to turn around. And so finally got to Bend, and on my return trip home, it was already starting to snow in Bend before I even left there, which made me a little nervous. I was if I don't leave now, I'm stuck here. So I took off against my better judgment, and forgot to pray. I didn't think to pray, and I was driving, and I made it through the pass, luckily. I got there, and it was very dicey, and I made it, though. I did, in the middle of the pass, I was help me get through this, please, and I did. And then I get to Idana, just before Idana, and it was milepost 70, and I was coming around a curve, and my car decided to hydroplane. And as it did that, I've hydroplaned before. I know how to, maneuver. You don't turn against it, you turn into it, and so I was doing that, and I felt I was gaining control, but something, I slipped again, and I had gone into oncoming traffic, and there was a nice-sized truck coming at my little car. And then, by the grace of God, my car turned again, it slipped again, and instead of being head-on with this car now, it was now at a slight diagonal. It was a little canted. But the only problem with that was I was literally heading straight into the Mackenzie River. And there was no guardrail or anything to stop me. And thankfully, the truck couldn't stop. It was the only accident where the victim actually is thank you for hitting me. The truck couldn't stop. They wound up slipping too when they were trying to, hit the brakes, and they did hit me. And in the middle of this accident, it was just, I knew I was getting hit, And I thought for a moment that I closed my eyes, but I seriously thought I closed my eyes. I thought I was bracing, like, the truck's about to hit me. But I still, like, opened my eyes, I guess, because everything slowed down. I can't explain how slow everything got. And I saw my dog Rosie. I had my dog Rosie and my dog Buttercup, both English bulldogs, and they were in the passenger seat where the truck hit. And Rosie was closest to the truck, the furthest away from me. And she got hit first, and it threw her so high in the air. I saw her right next to my rear view mirror. And when she did that, I was able to lift my hand up and grab her real quick, but my hand went into where her collar was. So I only got her with these 3 fingers, and I pulled her in real quick. And when it did that, it turned my body just enough. Like, my body went this way, because she's a 55-pound bowling ball. Both dogs are fine, by the way. But when that happened, the side airbag had come across, and I had 2 jackets on and a shirt, and the side airbag had literally whipped across and hit the back of my shoulder all the way across. And it cut through everything. I just remember there being blood on my hand and stuff, and it was just instant pain. And then the car came to an instant halt. And I just remember I had my dogs, my Rosie, and I was like, my baby. And then the pain set in, and I couldn't stop screaming because it was just, it hurt so bad. And I was like, check my babies. And I was just kept screaming because it hurt. And we were in a place where there was absolutely no reception, none. So we had somebody flag down a car. And it took them a half an hour to drive where there was reception and get help. And it took another half an hour for, EMTs to get there, and the fire department. And I was still it started to snow by this time. And when they got there, because of how bad the accident was, they were really afraid that something was wrong with my spine and my neck because I was in so much pain. So they needed to be cut out of the car. And it was a bad accident. And the crazy thing, though, after everything, I had the fire chief was right by my side the entire time, and he was a Marine Corps. I'm a Marine, James is a Marine, and he was like, I got you, we're gonna get through this, Semper Fi, and he was so great, and then the other fireman, one of the ladies, fire lady, her name was Grace, and when they had to cut the top off of the car, she put a blanket over my head and she held me and she was like, you're gonna be fine, just avoid the noise, just don't listen to me, listen to my voice. She kept me calm. And I heard the song and everything, and I could feel all the embers and stuff like hitting. And she was just great. She was wonderful. And then got into the ambulance, and found out when I got out of the hospital finally that the people who hit me, the wife's name was Grace, of all things, right? And crazy enough, the husband's name was James. So it was like God definitely had grace on me that day. And it wasn't until 2 weeks later, honestly, where it kind of hit me. I was sitting on the couch and I was just thinking about everything. We had just gone that day and saw the car, because I didn't see it. I was in the car, and I saw how bad it was. And I was like, wow, God definitely was on my side. He really was. And then I was like, James, and I called him into the room and I was like, I have to apologize. And he thought I meant to hit him. And I was like, no, to God. I was like, he kept sending me signs. He sent this, the bad weather down, in Detroit. That was a sign, like, don't go any further. And then he said, carry those chains, because it was snowing, and I didn't listen. And he had me, you know, I'm not the type of person that will go straight to K-Love. I'm getting used to it, but I was like, he had me turn that on for some reason, and I felt the need to pray, and I got through it, and he gave me the grace of the snow plow, and, you know, through all of that, he still was by me. And it wasn't until, you know, 2 weeks later, I was like, you know what, I kind of feel like the accident was kind of like a, hey, listen to me, I'm here for you, you know, and you're not paying attention. You could have avoided all of this, but it was still kind of a, I've got you though, you know. So that was kind of, it's my introduction to God, and it was amazing.